And I'm live. That is cool. Today is 9th of December 2025, Tuesday. And with that, let's just begin. Yep. Late stream. Yes, I don't know. But I had to go to college. My bad. Yep. Stop the thing here and let's see the language. For today, we will spin this wheel 3 times again, and whatever the language is on the third spin will be the one with which we write today's goal. Okay, and let's go. First spin, and we land on Zig. Okay, and I would actually prefer to get Zig today because today is 9th of December, and then there will be 10th, 11th, and 12th. And yeah, it will be like questions will get more difficult. So the languages that I'm more familiar with, C++ and Python. Swift is also high level, I think. And so yeah, it would be cool to get them later on. So okay, we have Zig on the first spin, second spin, and we get Python. Okay, I would not like to get Python today because like yeah, I would like to have Python on a more difficult day later on. And now the third is and the last spin. Let's go. And the language for the day is Zig. Oh, okay, that is just a coincidence. And let's go. We will solve today's question in Zig, and it is going to be cool. And let's see who else have solved the question shared. Darsh Parik and Aditya Singh did the question already. Yo, bro is like 100% maxed out experience. Okay, today is going to be Zig. Let's go and just have a glance at the question. Wait, that is cool. Looks kind of parsing or something. And the puzzle input is a bunch of numbers. Okay, and yep, let's go with that. Zig, and I think Zig documentation is pretty cool. Yep, this is how we write Zig, and let's see how do we install and start Zig. Unstable master guides introduction in-depth overview. That is not what we want. We want to get started with Zig. And look at this. This is just a single page. So there is not like you read a little bit and then you click on and go to the next thing and then read on a little bit and go to the next page. This is a single page and that kind of is cool. And getting started. Installing Zig. Direct download, setting up path on your Windows. I think Coco is I don't know, a Windows thing. Brew install Zig. That is convenient. That will should install Zig. Mac ports recommended tool. Okay, Zig has its own LSB. All major text Zig in it to initialize a folder. Okay, that is cool. All major text editors have syntax highlighting for Zig. Some built-in. Okay, what is the Zig? ZLS. Okay. If you are interested in a deep integration between Zig and your editor, look, check out this. If you are interested in what else is available, check out this thing. Okay, and Zig ZLS. How do we install this? Clone ZLS, optimize. That is cool. And that is cool. Now, GitHub, not my own, but NeoVim LSP config. We will see which NeoVim LSP is available for Zig. All configs. And searching up for Zig. Zig is downloaded. We have Zig seems to be like written with LVM as the backend. Ziggy, no, ZSL. No. Okay, Ziggy is something else. Ziggy schema. ZLS. Yep, ZLS, that is what you want. And ZLS, okay, we just have to install Zig and we will enable ZLS like this. And the way to install this is we have to git clone this cd zig. We should have Zig installed, which is being installed right now. And why is this installing LLVM the whole thing? That is something. Okay, Zig. Yep, and then we will git clone this repository Zig tools slash ZLS. Then we'll cd into it and Zig build d optimize equals release save. Okay, we have this. Do we have Zig? We do have Zig, it seems. Okay, Zig version and nothing. Zig. Yep, Zig H. So we do have Zig. Code base is git clone github.com slash zig tools zls zig ls. Okay, it is downloading and we do have it. ZLS and zig build dot zig, no, zig build this whole line on d optimize equals release save. Release save and okay, shit, that is crazy. We have something at the top of the terminal. Compile error. Uh, targeted. We like ran this exact line and okay, we are getting the exact error. ZLS, can we use brew? Okay, we can install ZLS, maybe. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, ZLS is working. We can just enable it from new configuration. Syncing. Okay. And wait, no, right here. Wait, plugins and this one here we just have to say vim.lsp.enable ZLS. Cool. And I think we are good to go. CD zig and I think zig in it. Okay, that does make something. Source. Okay. We have two files here, main.zig and another one. Hello, yesterday I found out there is a terminal command called yes, okay, and it runs until you stop it or the memory gets full. Maybe just on Linux, also on other things. That is cool. Yes. RAM, who is taking most of the RAM? Yes, my mouse is lagging. Shit. Did it mess up the stream? No, stream is going on just fine. That is cool. Okay, now Zig. Zig in it. Yep. Next steps. We will also use ChatGPT and we will just use ChatGPT for the Zig part, but uh, for the logic part, for like how to solve the question. Why is it useful? Why would giving memory be useful? Yes. Hmm. maybe to see how fast a program will be able to like take away your memory. And yep, or maybe if you are into operating system design, then is your operating system catching up, or like finding out programs which have a memory leak and then stopping them by force, something, I don't know. I mean, you can tell it to me. I don't know. And Zig. Zig build. Okay, something is happening. That is, I think, slow. Zig out. Zig out. Bin. Zig. Okay. Dot slash. Zig out. Bin. Zig. And all your code bases belong to us. Run Zig build test to run the tests. While creating custom install scripts, you can enable all actions. Yes, what do you mean enable all actions while creating custom installed script? Okay, you can enable all actions to yes. I don't get what you mean by that. Yes, we can write custom scripts which will install something like Docker script or something like that, and you can enable all actions. Enable all actions to yes. Yes, I don't get that part. How to run a Zig program? Yes, that would be the like at least basic install Zig. Yep, I do have Zig. Let's write a simple file. Maybe the LSP don't won't work. I don't know. Root dot zig buffer print and add main inside main tests non-void is the return type std const stdout equals std dot io dot get standard output dot writer get a writer to standard output and try stdout dot print this thing. Okay, where we are giving this thing also. Okay, let's just copy this thing. Okay, during installation it asks that if you want to install yes or no. Set it. Okay, okay, so this will keep printing yes, but like what uh, but what about the memory leak part? And what is ChatGPT? Zig run main dot zig. Main dot zig and error. IO has no member. This dot get IO does not have any member like that. Std equals import std and IO really does not have any member like that. Hmm. Zig zig build run and error the following command exited with this code. Maybe you didn't even stop. You were not able to compile. Ask ChatGPT
Hmm.
for this. This thing is like difficult in itself. Uh, Zig, bro, like I want to complete this thing. Hello. Hey, what are you doing? We are doing add-on of code. This is a website where you get some questions starting from 1st of December till this time. You will only get questions till 12th of December, and what I'm attempting to do is do every day's question in a different language. So like day one was JavaScript, then it was I think Dart, and then it was also PHP at some day, different languages. And bro, my bad. I want to get this question done with. I had I went to college and yeah, I'm a bit tired. So let me get this done. Zig is not working out, and we do not have anything like crazy in the code. We just have hello. Can build a binary or we can run it, compiles it, runs it, cleans up the temporary build artifacts, zig run main.zig, which is exactly what we did. Error struct declared here but not used. Huh? IO has no member, this thing. But also in wait, we have some error note struct declared here, this thing, but not used. That is some error in the zig itself. This error is from the zig library. Why there are error in the library? It is kind of crazy. Hello. What kind of questions are these? Complex kind of. These are like logical questions. You can solve them, you can understand them, and anyone can understand these questions and try to solve them. You don't need some extra vocabulary for these. These are cool questions. Yeah. Question mark to zig. Zig, let's go. And no, at least for the understanding part. For solving the question, it might, yeah, it would be very helpful if you do know some other things before. But yeah, for reading the question and understanding what is happening or what is required, it is pretty cool. And the difficulty of these questions increases from day one to later on. And like, I think you can, anyone, I think, will be able to understand this question and find a solution after some trying, trial and error thing. Okay. Zig does not work. Root IO has no member. Get standard out. Dot generic writer. Hello world in Zig. Zig by example, let's see hello world in Zig. That is a lot of white, my bad. Yeah, cool. Import std dot debug dot print. There seems to be quite a lot of things in Zig. Like, why do I have this thing for every print statement that I have? And this is strange. This is not exactly strange. This is kind of like how we import in JavaScript. Public, that would mean public. Fn function, and fn, this is like Rust fn std.debug.print. Let's use that instead. std.debug.print and hello world, new line, and this strange thing at the end somehow zig main run main dot zig and hello world. Let's go. Now at least we can add a key map which will run our zig file. Zig would be the name of the key map, and the command would be zig run, and then the name of the file. To run the current zip file. Okay, and now if we are in a zip file and I press space zig, the program runs. Okay, cool. At least we can write hello world in zig. Now how to write constants and things in zig? Variables in zig. Let's see how do you write variables. Okay, this seems cool. You can you please share your Instagram link? I'm not on Instagram. Instagram, nope. But on LinkedIn, my name is like just my channel's name, nothing else. And you will see a stupid guy's photo in the DP. That would be me. Mutable and immutable. Okay, constant Z type I32, that is like Rust, equals 10. Okay, and const means you cannot modify it. Okay, Zig loves immutability. You will see const everywhere. Okay, variable which is mutable I32. This allowed var means it can change. Thus, a variable, if you forget to type, Zig will automatically find it. And this is how we give comments. It seems that is cool. But relying on type inference blindly can bite you. Just bite you, not where it will bite you. Because integers in Zig default to compile time end, not into a fixed with time. Okay, time matters a lot. Okay, out of range, that is pretty cool. Reassigning mutables. Okay, using variables, this is how we import public function main. Shadowing is not allowed. Block scoping, this is okay. New scope, this x is in new scope, this x is in the old scope. And constants at compile time, const time compile. Okay, okay, variable, and there are a few data types. Okay, how to write a function in Zig, or like what is the schema for a function in Zig? The smallest possible function would be add, and this thing does not have the pub because, okay, because the main function has to be public. Okay, this is like assembly. This is like assembly, literally like assembly. Because if you go to GitHub, and I think it was in Advent of Code for some year, maybe 2019. No, 2020? No. 21? No. Maybe 22 or no, 23. I think it was shit, 24. Yes. Yep. This one. Part 1 dot s. Here in assembly, yes, here we are saying that this is a function, or this is our main function. And in this line, we are saying that this main function is global. That is, when we are compiling our program and the linker wants access to our function, then since this main function is global, the linker will be able to access this function and like link it. And yeah, compile, after compiling them, link them. Hello. Okay. So yes, so my theory is this pub makes this main function available for the linker. And if I remove that, if I just say that this is a function, then I think this function will not be like requirable or accessible by something that is not in this file. And if I run the program now, error and referenced by the Zig compiler, I think. Yep, Zig compile time was calling this function and then return call main called inline here, called inline here, whatever that is. And the thing declared here main is not marked public. So this has to be public for it to compile and run. Okay. And what is this like? We are returning something, but that is not void. I think we can say I32 error, non-void. Okay. Like whatever this exclamation means in this context. Okay, this is how we define a function. Calling the function, just normal, a function that returns nothing, void, error. So this thing means that the function is going to return I32, or maybe this might return an error. So this function is going to return void, nothing, or this might return an error. But we are saying that it is going to return integer I32. And still we have error somehow, because I32 can be negative also. Okay, now it does work. Cool. And I think we can say U32. Okay, that does not work. We can main function will only return void, non-void, no return U8 or U8 with an error. Okay, so void. Okay. And I think this will still give error because we are saying that this function will return void, but we are returning 0. Let's see error. Yep. If we remove that, no error, and hello world. Let's go. Okay, let's write add function which takes in two integers. How do we say that this function is going to take two integers? X I32 type, Y I32 type, returns an I32, X plus Y, const sum equals add. Even though this function was declared after this line, we are still able to access the function. Unused variable I32. And how do we print? How to format a string? How do we format a string in Zig? Hello, six people. How do we format a string in Zig? Okay, that is too much. That is 3 lines of code to write a single formatted string. Okay, that is much better. That is much better. Print debug. The answer is inside this thing and dot d. Okay. Here we are saying that whatever variable is whose name is d, print that variable here and d equals this thing. Okay, so cd dot debug dot print, can we say the sum is sum? No, we cannot say that. When we say dot s equals sum, never okay, okay, shit, that is some error. Here we said that sum is a variable. Variable means something which is non-mute, which can be changed later, whose value can be changed later. But we are never changing sum's value, so we are not just getting a warning that we have defined sum as a variable, but we are not varying sum's value. We are getting an error. So, okay, let's say const and no error. Zig, and we do get error. Okay. Invalid format S for type S32. Okay, S means my bad. So these things, S and D, they do mean something. The sum is 3, sum of 1 and 2. What if we have multiple of these things? Error, comma, dot D equals sum. How do we write more things? Okay, we can give custom variables. That is something we would like to want. We would like to do. Print this thing as a S, and then these 3 symbols, and then with format specifiers. How do I generate? Okay, that is by Zig itself. That is cool. That does work. Okay, cool, cool. Okay, okay. That does not work. So we know how to write a function. In Zig, we also know like a little bit about public and non-public functions and how to declare some variable. Let's see what are the kind of variables we have in Zig. Let's see that. What are the different types of variables in Zig? Yep, Zig keeps its variables minimal but sharp. Shit, don't tell me. Okay, no, shit, we do not need this. I asked the wrong question. What are the what are the different data types in Zig? Okay, Zig's type system is small, explicit integer types. We have a single bit. Integer is crazy. Signed, unsigned. Floating type. Okay, with F128 is also something that we have. That is cool. I128 is cool. We have Boolean, Nginx. We have pointers, which we will not need. Wait, shit, this thing has pointers, so this will probably won't have or maybe might have references. So we will have to use pointers for to pass things by a reference. Arrays. An array of 5 elements, where 5 of them are U8 type. Slices. A pointer plus length. A pointer to an array plus length. And array introduce lengths like this. Okay, used for storing structs. It's like this. Enums, we won't need enums, but structs is cool. You have a constant pointer whose value is a type of struct. Unions, error sets. Okay, we don't need anything else. Optionals. Okay. And then we have opaque, no return, type level types. Okay, we don't need that much. Yep. We don't. Slices, yes. Slices and this. Okay, so slices and this. Okay, how to make an array in Zig. How to make an array in Zig. Or can we add and remove elements from an array in Zig? Can we? From an array in Zig, can we do this? No. Zig arrays are fixed sizes. Okay. And what is this dot operator? This not was, is also here. So dot means something. Hello. Dot means something. This type means length is 5. Memory is continuous. We cannot do any of these. Slices, I think use array list for dynamic arrays. Yes. Import standard and GPA equals general purpose allocator. Okay, shit. Zig is more deeper. Zig is low level, quite low level. Var GPA equals std heap dot general purpose allocator. This thing try list dot append this list dot append this list dot append this. Okay, and list dot d init this thing where list equals sp array list i32 init allocator const allocator gpa dot allocator general purpose allocator. Give me the allocator and std array list, and we have to give in the allocator. Oh, there were these same things were there in C++, but I paid no attention to them because I thought, why would I even look at how memory for my data structure is being given to me? But here in Zig, they are saying that you should know how memory, or you have to know how memory is being given to a data structure. Okay. And then differ. Okay, this differ, I can, this differ is from Go, or like just like it. And there is in Go. This function will run at the end, and I do not want to just copy paste this thing. Let's see. So the concept here is we get a allocator, and we say that we want a data type of this thing, and whenever this thing array list wants a new or like more storage, then it is going to use this allocator which we have provided, and this allocator is a general purpose allocator which gives memory from the heap. Literally, shit, that is This is more low level than C. Yes, because in C we have malloc and we have no control over how malloc is working as far as I know. But here we are literally saying give me memory from the heap or like which allocator to use. Yep. Which allocator to use when you are giving me memory. That is good. That is good. That is like low level and that is good. We can pop and not capture the return value. We can insert at some particular location. Okay. Okay. We already have standard imported const general purpose allocator equals std dot heap dot default allocator, and it was like something like this. And then what do we say? We say allocator. We get the allocator from this allocator. Yes, some things are happening, and when we get a list, we say dot init using this allocator. Allocator equals general purpose allocator dot allocator. Okay, and when I want const, yeah, variable because we are changing the list later. Where or like array equals std dot array list. Yep. Dot array list dot I32 type dot init. Okay, y unused variable for yes for var I equals 0, I is smaller than 10, I plus plus. Can we do this? We cannot do this. How to run a loop in Zig? Let's see, how do we run a loop in Zig for this to this thing, vary this thing, and from this to this. Okay, for 0, let's say to 10, vary the variable I and here dot append I. It is working, we are not getting any error, that is good I think. And then yes, let's see, error as expected init is wrong. General purpose allocator, this gpa dot allocator. Shape debug allocator, no, we need general purpose allocator. Error init uh, array. Wait, maybe I got the wrong array list. No, std dot array list, that is exactly what we want. And init, there is no init function here. Wait, there is also the differ statement, array dot d init. Yes, that was not the error. Okay, has no member in it. This thing has no member in it. How? Array list std dot array list for this type. This thing does not have array list. How do we? So do we have to import array list from somewhere? We just have to import std. Just have to import std, create an array list in Zig. How do we create an array list in Zig? Import std, allocator, defer, gpa dot in it does not matter. Yes, maybe these things have to happen in the same scope. I don't know. I mean, that should not be an error, but still, no. Init is not a function here. Wait, array list dot aligned. This has no member. Array list. No. Zig and okay. This thing does not have a member called in it. So why is everyone saying that there is a member called in it for array list? Array list std dot array list I32 init. So they are saying that there is no member called init for this thing. Dot dinit is a function, init buffer is a function, but there is no init function. Init capacity is a function. Init capacity insert. Yes, this is fuzzy searching. I init buffer initializes with externally managed memory. The buffer determines the capacity and the length is set to 0 when initialized this way. All functions that accept an allocator argument cause illegal behavior, and init capacity initializes with capacity to hold num elements. The resulting capacity will equal num. Exactly. Buffer. Let's say that we are not going to do this. Let's say not this, but um, this thing has 10 elements and they are of type I30. And use local variable, does not matter, it is fine. For 0 to 10, variable I, and I equals I. We can do that, that is good. For 0 dot dot, can we do air dot length or length? Okay, air or 10 j, let's say, just in case, and std dot debug dot print the current number is some digit and then new line, comma dot add j. Zig and error. Types are not we not types are not available at runtime. What does that even mean? Um, How do I create a list then? Like a stationary list would also work. Okay, here five, and this is how we initialize it. Okay, this is going to have 10 elements. Error, error, found 0. So we do have to specify the thing at the offset. List in rig of a certain size and fill the values later on. How to do that? See, zig, zig, shit, ChatGPT failed. Okay, shit, ChatGPT forgot that I asked something. How to make an array in zig for of a certain size and then fill the array later on. How do you do that? Zig makes this very, but you can leave them uninitialized and fill them later. You can, so it is possible. Undefined, I can make it equal to undefined and fill later. Error. Shit, I has some other value. It cannot represent all 64. I is of type U size. Okay. I is of type U size. Okay, this thing is not very good. I is of type U size. How to typecast in not IG in Zig. Int cast target type. So that is a lot of work. At the rate int cast int cast to type I32 I invalid bulletin function int capital C expected one argument count 2 is crazy. Int cast int cast. Oh, 2 arguments, huh? That does actually work. Okay, share. That works. Okay, so we kind of know how to work with arrays in Zig and how to run a loop, kind of, and how we can typecast values and how to initialize some variables. Now strings. Let's read a little bit about strings, or figure out some things about strings in Zig. Yep. How to work with strings in Zig would be the next question. Zig is deceptively simple, but they are really byte slices. Shit. An array of character. That is a string. Shit. So this is not going to have any high level functions like splitting a string or anything like that. What is buff? Buff is slices. str slice over buffer. Okay, that is cool. That is cool. That is cool. Length null delimiter if needed for C strings in zig. No, their length. That's cool. No guessing. Still length. Iterating over characters. And why do this thing have a star here? Does it know that I'm doing advent of code? Would be crazy. Simple byte iteration for MSG. Shit. Okay. This is my range. For this range, use this variable. Yep. Concatenation is something we can do. Heap allocator, get an allocator and work with the allocator, but we are not able to run this function somehow. Yep. The compiler says that there is nothing as init in the ArrayList constructor or whatever this is. Slicing strings, comparing strings using std mem dot equal with this being the size of the chunks, compare this thing and this thing. Null terminated string for C interoperability. Printing the string. Let's print a single string. Variable str of type. String is not a type. That is cool. 10 u8 equals hello. Can you do that? Unused local variable std dot debug dot print string dot curly braces str local variable is never mutated. Okay, that is well, that is a very fair point. Zig and error got pointer to a constant. How to work with the strings, but they never told us how to write a string. They did tell us in the first line. Okay, and we get hello. That is cool. Can we get like type CR? How to get type of a variable in Zig? How to get type of variable in Zig? Type inference, type of iterate, type of uh, type of str and error. How is this thing returning a integer? Type of my init. Anyways, like this thing works. Okay, cool. Zig, hello, print hello. Yep, we are able to print hello. Why do you split functions? You have to work with why you want split functions. You have to work with integer in this problem. Split function because I think we would need to split this because I'm expecting that I will read this file as a string and then I will have to split this string into a list of strings and split whenever I see a new line. So yep, that is why split function string variable. And let's see how to read a file, or before that, yeah, let's see how to read a file and then we can start solving the actual question. Hello, Zig. Yep, Zig. Zig is like quite low level. Zig is actually quite low level, and that is 2 square. Zig is low level. 9, 7. Because, okay, before moving on, I don't want to skip this thing. There was, I asked ChatGPT how to write a dynamic size array. Yep, and this was the remedy that ChatGPT gave, but this does not work. And look at this, we have to get a allocator first of all, and then for our data type, which in this case happens to be an array list, we have to give that data type. Whenever you want more memory, use this allocator for getting more memory. That is crazy. This map is not the input. This map is the input. Wait, we have coordinates. Okay, shit. Okay, you're telling that this map is not the input. Okay, even in that case, whatever is the input, I have to split this at the end of new lines to get like these numbers, and then split each individual string by comma to get these numbers, and then we can convert simply these strings into numbers. Wait, how do you do this without a split function? Maybe you can shit, you are using C++ probably, and you are using file stream f stream for that, and yeah, you are. I'm like jealous of you because you are using C++. I cannot use C++. Ah, I got Zig. And something about the firepole just triggers me. What is firepole? The fire pole in a fire station in Toronto, Ontario. Wait, Toronto, Ontario. Toronto is in Canada, but Ontario might be like something else. Wait, okay, I don't get what is shit. Okay, this is fire pole. Okay, makes sense. This is the thing that firefighters use to go from like first or second a higher floor to the ground floor, I think. Like this is their slide or something like that. Here, why is there GNA, DNA? We can maybe, yep. If there is a firefighter on this like higher floor, they can hold this pipe and then slide along this pipe and go lower. That is fun. Okay, we can read 7 comma 1. Then if we read 7 comma 1 as a strings, we can go through string and append into a chord 1 until we find this, and then string 2 after that. But yes, we can do that manually. I'm not sure though if we can do it in Zig. Yes, we can do that manually. We can read, we can hear. Okay, yes, you took the example from here, 7.1, cool. We can go here, and for it, we will get, probably we will get this whole thing as a string, right? Or maybe even if we get this thing as line by line, if we are reading this thing, let's say line by line, then we can go character by character and see if this thing is a digit. If it is, then we can put it into a number, and we can keep incrementing our current number. We can multiply our current number by 10 and add this current character by after converting it into a integer to our current number. And whenever we see a comma, we know shit, we are done with our number, the first number, and we can store it wherever we are storing it in our data structure. And we can do the same with this one. Like, it would be a bit cooler to not do this manual character going through. And if just if hopefully there might be a function in Zig. C++ was basic. If you use string stream and declare x comma y as integers and c as character, then yo, yes, that is cool. That is a cool trick. That is a cool trick. And you are using c as kind of a sink whose value you do not actually care about. You can see something like scanf. No, why split? S is scanf. I mean, I do not know Zig. Like, this is my first time writing in Zig, so okay, scanf. Wait, that would actually be cool. I can just say scanf percent %d comma percent %d, or I think in Zig we use just d without the percent part. Okay, we'll move to the scanf. But before that, I want to make this work. Get a dynamic array, dynamic size array. Okay, here we say, give me a general purpose allocator, which will give me memory on the heap. Std dot heap dot general purpose allocator config. I think that part is empty. Yes, using unused, that is fine. And then const, we get the allocator dot allocator, and then variable lsc list would be standard dot array list, and we give tell this thing the type and init. Yes, lsp is also saying that there is no function called init. For this, why is there no function called init? And in Zig, I've seen this dot a couple of times. We use this same dot in print functions also, and this thing does not work. This thing does not work locally. It is saying that there is no function called init. And even if I were to force this, let's say, just in case, and then loop, this is how we loop in Zig, which is cool, kind of. We will use the variable I to loop, and lst dot append, I think, append or push append. Append I, but if we were to compile this, or let's say run this, we get error. And the error says that this standard array list has no member called init, which is crazy. Scanf is a C function. Wait, just find the equivalent. What version of Zig? Okay, wait, just find the equivalent. Okay, so you were not saying that scanf is a Zig function. Yes, it is a function in C. What version of Zig? I guess local, latest. Zig is not telling me the version. env version. Wait, without this. Zig version. Wait, Zig is not one version. Shit, you might be correct. I might not be on the latest Zig version. Shit. Okay, which Zig? Okay, I'm using the homebrew Zig. That is cool, which is the one that I did download. Okay, it is the latest 1.014. I am like even better. I think it is Zig's motto. Avoid success at all costs. It is Haskell's motto, not Zig. Yep. Avoid success at all costs. This thing. Avoid success at all costs. That is Haskell's motto. Funny. We are on the latest Zig version, but it's still worst case, just call directly from Zig. Zig is still in development. Yes, that seems to be the case. And mobs 9306. 9, 3 plus 6 is 9, but mobs from Minecraft. Are you suggesting to call a C plus or C function from Zig? There must be some way to do that, but if that is what you are suggesting, but no. Wait, that is not the problem that we are solving right now. Right now, we're gonna fix this. We are getting an allocator. Let's go to the actual documentation. Zig array list zig dot guide. Mhm. Array list dot u8 or whatever the type is dot init is a thing there, and then test allocator is std dot testing dot allocator. Yes, array list equals std dot, not that thing, array list, and const equals testing allocator, and at the end d init, run d init when the function exits. This is the error, right? We have to remove this add function. Of course, defer lst dot struct declared here, but we cannot do anything about this part because this is literally inside Zig library. So, yep, we don't have any control over this. But for this one, line 8 is the line where we are initializing our list, and it is saying that has no method named init. This thing has no method named init, which, wait, test, okay, but this should work. Array list has no method named init. If I change the type, literally would not do anything. Yes, type would not do anything. Type would not do anything. It does not. Zig itself code does not work. You may be better off looking at standard library source. Yes, just use init capacity test allocator is only used for unit tests. Okay, so we can use the allocator which you are like using before. General purpose allocator SPD and heap dot, and you said that it would be better off using init capacity. Init capacity, and will this thing take in a number? Let's say 1e6. Will this work? I messed up somewhere. Initializes list. Okay, we also have to give this thing the allocator and then the size. Okay, GPA equals std dot heap dot general per, per purpose allocator. Give me the allocator. My shift is not working, but okay. Allocator space zig, and there is some other error. Heap, wait, general purpose allocator. Okay, yes. We had to say something here like this. List dot append out of memory is crazy. Literally, out of memory is crazy. Wait, capacity increases the capacity, but the actual elements, there are no elements in it, I guess. No field or member named append. Instead of uList, we can say this is usize because I is of type usize just in case. Now they say that append does not exist for this, which is crazy. Test elevator is used only for test cases. Well, like it's like cannot be used for other things. Right, allocator list dot append does seem to be a function here. List dot append is not a function here, which is crazy. Okay, this might be okay. I'm going to propose a theory, and that is this might be happening because this might be happening, maybe, just maybe. That is why I'm like saying that this is a theory. Is that when we are on this line, when we are calling the append function here, the list LST object is not yet ready. Like it does not have any memory or any member functions anywhere because this line is not yet ready, and this requires the operating system to give us memory, and that memory does not is not given to us at the point when this function is running. Okay, I'm just like saying bad thing. No, that is not the thing. Yes. Or we can just work with static arrays. Documentation is probably outdated. Look at the member function of I. There are no member functions. LSP dot and LSP has nothing to give me. And these things are other things. These are like the things which I have written in Zig or somewhere else. These are not member functions. These are, yeah, these are by Vim. But LSP is not giving me anything. Wait, what is the type of LSP? LSP is of type this or error out of memory. Okay, this thing said that there is no append function is error out of memory array list assigned usize null out of memory error out of memory error. Are you asking for too much? Or I might actually believe that. Maybe now. Okay, I'm not that bad. I thought maybe when we are telling to run this function at the end of the main function, like run this dnf function, maybe since I passed the function like this, maybe I'm calling the function in place and lst is getting empty, and by the time that we are on this append line, lst is literally out of memory because there is nothing there. And wait, is the order for this correct? First is the allocator and then use size, and this thing, this is the return type, I think, and it is allocator. This might self fn allocator this or error. Okay, this wait. This does return an error, or what does it do? Initialize with capacity. And the thing to note here is dinit is not giving us any error. So dinit is a function, is a member function. We remove local variable never mutated. That is fine. Is dinit ever a member function? It is not. Error union, consider try catch, error type, union error. What are you even getting out of this thing? I think now we have two options. Either we can like spend time on this, and it has been like how long? Huh? Oh, variable equals. It has been 1 hours and 25 minutes, and I have not even read the question. So either we can hit our heads and try to make this thing work, which we don't actually need because we can just specify a very big array. And we can specify our array with like 10 million elements, and that will work. Hello, bro, you gave up. Completely. Gave up is maybe not the term that I would use, but yeah, I have stopped CEF because I think I need to develop projects to get a job or internship or something, and there is too much effort with not a lot of gain, and not right now. Yep, not right now. What does int capacity mean? My understanding is init capacity means that like it will not store any element in our heap or in our array, but it will give us this many elements on heap. Yes, it will give us this many elements on heap, and we will only hit out of memory when we have stored 12 elements, something like that. Do where. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It is a result that being returned. That makes sense. What's the reason? You stop. Hello. What is the reason? I just said the reason, right? Too much effort and not a lot of. I'm not willing to put this much effort into it right now. Getting a job and stuff like that, like getting financial freedom is more important and more reasonable. No field named D in it. And what is the type of this? Aligned. Okay, shit. Now this is not saying that this is error. The type is different. So that is cool. That is actually cool and buffer and D in it. D in it. Call it. Okay. Let's just why would D in it expect any argument? Let's skip that and use um, variable for range 0 to 9 I. That is great. Shift is not working. LSE bracket I equals I. Just that and that was done. Does not support indexing. Array list aligned. Either use operator must be an array. So we are not even getting an array. We are getting something else. We are getting something else. Or yeah, let's just use a simple normal. Yeah, we'll use a normal array which does not have this, which would be for a variable lst type 10 elements, let's say, or 1e 6 elements of type u size empty initially, and for 0 to 1,000 I, like that, and lst I equals I, that does work, and just std dot debug dot a random, not a random value, but yeah, value something something. Yes, shift. Okay, shift is not. It is not working. Uh, let's say 10 and just checking things out. At 10 index we have 10. Yeah, which is cool. Which is cool because I equals I, lst I equals I. Okay, we have an array. Let's see how to read a file and work with that. Yo, shit. Hello. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, looks like they have changed the API of ArrayList. Can you open definition of ArrayList? That makes sense. Go to, okay. ArrayList aligned type T. Okay, this thing is a type, right? That is cool. And this calls align function here. Yes, this is, I think, a better way to go about things. Okay, and whenever you call this thing, if alignment, this is our range. Yes, okay. Wait, no, this is not a, wait, why do we have a if? This is how we were uh, looping through a range, but why do we have if here? That is crazy. Anyways, this thing is returning a structure. Okay, and capacity initially 0, something, items, some crazy syntax. Wait, I think this is just like in C++, this is constructing a constructor for this type, constructing a initiating an instance of this type T, I think. And this is creating a reference. Shit, this might actually be true. Okay, so this ampersand, I think, is creating a reference. Reference to what? Reference to a array of type T. And this is initializing that array, maybe. And how many? We are not specifying how many. We are just saying, yeah, this is a like empty thing. We are not saying how many. Okay, and init buffer, let's go. There must also be the init capacity. Init capacity. Wait, init capacity is a test, or maybe it is test. This thing is testing. Where is it? Here it is defined. We get a allocator and view size. This thing returns self or an error of type allocator error, self, ensure total capacity, GPA num. Read the docs, comment, check this out. Checking this out. Initialize with capacity to hold num elements. Yes, the resulting capacity will equal num exactly. Deinitialize with dinit, which is what we were doing, but we got error. Or when we used the try word before init capacity function. Then we got something else, but not this. Wait, we are getting self. How do we access elements in self? This is a structure, right? How do we access elements in our array list? In Zig, append dot items. Okay, maybe we were on the right track. Var lst equals try getting an std dot array list, and we need to give this an a allocator. So variable, what was it? General allocator function. Uh, Page allocator is also something we can. Yeah, I don't understand the concept of pages and pages in general purpose allocator. Pages in memory. GPA equals GPA would be std dot view. And this, the thing that I do not understand this completely, but the thing that I like here is we are telling the language, I want the memory from the heap and use this allocator. We can use allocators in C++ also, but I never like read about them. But yeah, we do have allocators in C++. But this is cool. This looks cool. When you have a word called heap in your code, it looks cool. Const get the allocator, and here type would be, let's say, usize, and init capacity, the allocator is allocator. Shit, this has to be of size of type usize. Okay. Const size type usize equals, say, 15. A is not capital, right? And this is a variable. Lst dot append 10 and lst dot element, or it was element, I think, item, items s. Let's go. Give me item number 0, and std dot debug dot print. Yep, shift. Zig, and okay, we'll worry about append later. Let's make this uh, const, and okay, that is running, and out of index, that is cool. Out of index, that is cool. That is very instructive, because now our assumption, or my assumption, that init capacity gives us capacity but does not fill the elements is okay. No, that was correct. But append function expected, wait, append expects 2 argument. That is funny. Append, okay, that is like too much work. That is actually too much work. Union is ignore. Okay, that is just too much work for a simple thing. That is too much work. Create the link, check the, okay, shit, cannot send link. Okay, just search how to use array list, Zig, Reddit thread. Okay, this is working and this is too much effort. This is too much effort. We have to specify, okay, like, okay, the thing that is required, like the minimum amount of instruction that you should be giving to a list to append a new argument is tell the list where you want to add the element and give the argument which you want, give the element which you want to append. But on top of that, you here have to give a allocator which will be used to get memory from the heap, if there is no memory, and also this try thing because maybe we might run out of memory. That is too much work. Reddit, array lists, error, shared. It is hard to tell from ArrayList.append you're using ArrayList.append when you meant to call ArrayList.append. Here is the reasoning behind the change. Shared. They changed the thing, it seems. They have moved the old ArrayList to std dot manage. Okay, that is like getting into the weeds of things, which is cool, but my only purpose here is to like kind of get the vibe of the language and solve the question. And we will not use this. Like, nah, I'm not going to use this. That is too much work for a simple thing to get numbers on the heap, which is like we don't even want that. We can get memory or array on the stack and work with that. Okay, I think now we can move on to seeing how to read a file in Zig. In IG, yes. Zig way to read a file or Gemini. Yes. C++ is too simple. Allocator. Make a allocator. Right now this seems uh, crazy work, but I guess when I do read about Zig in a genuine way, this is going to be very fun. Working with low level things, allocator and all, it is going to be fun. Then file path, open the file equals try to catch for error, I think std.fs.cwd, change working directory, current working directory, should be pwd present working directory, print working directory. Yes, pwd is print working directory. Open file. Wait, shit. That might be shit. Since here we are giving a relative path, maybe this thing is telling to open a file in the current working directory. Maybe. And then open file this and this strange dot syntax again. And at the end, close the file. Get the file statistics to determine its size. Okay, shit. This is assembly. This is exactly how we read a file in assembly or in C. We have to manually get the size of the file which we are reading. Yes, I have to. Okay, Zig is low level. Zig is actually low level. Day one, shit, it was not 2024. Might be 23, might be 24. It was 24. Okay. Here. File name. Yep. Think in this part fopen. Yes, this whole code is just equivalent to fopen in C, and then seek the end of the file, go to the end of the file, right? Fseek and seek, yes, it is seek. Fseek wants the argument to be on register. Wait, here are we moving? Yes, this is the target register. Yep, move into 19. I think register number 19 has the file pointer. Yep, I think that is true. And yeah, so for this file, do fseek and go to the last point of the file, and ftell to tell the current position of the cursor in the file, which would be at the end, right? And now we have the location, or you could say size of the file, and we are moving that into register 20, and we are moving into register 0, again the file pointer, and rewind to move the pointer back to the start of the file. And then we are mallocing. Look at this, from register 20 get whatever the number is in register 20 to register 0, and in register 20 we stored the size of the file, and after storing the number of bytes which are in the current file, we are calling malloc to give us this much storage. And then we will get the pointer in register 0 which we are storing in register 21, and then we are reading the buffer where 19. Yep, so seems like register 3 wants the file pointer, register 2 wants 20 size, how much we want to read, register 1 is 1 chunk, size of each chunk, number of chunks, file pointer, and first is going to be the buffer pointer where we want to store. Yep, that's cool. Moving access rows, and yeah, everything after that. Zig is low level. Zig is actually low level. Okay, how to read a file? File.stats, get the stats of the file, and create a buffer to read everything. Read to end all file. Read to end alloc. Keep reading and keep allocating to read stats.size. Buffer, how does buffer contain the contents? Buffer file dot read to end alloc. Use this allocator and read this much from the file stats.size. Dot close and our allocator dot free. We have to specify the allocator, and it is a page allocator. Okay, keep allocator std dot heap dot page allocator. Give me a page allocator if there is one. Shadows. Give me a allocator and file equals std dot fs dot current working directory cwd and comma read file path for the file is dot slash text dot txt. Wait, I think we also have to give a locator for the file. No. For f open, we don't need the allocator, which makes sense. No, shit, that would actually be crazy if we could give allocator for opening a file, because opening a file means getting getting a file into the memory. That would actually be crazy. Okay, and pause. Stats is the right thing, right? Stat, stat, and defer file dot close, which does make sense. And wait, I think maybe we should also say try here and here. I don't know, maybe. try, and mm, buffer of something you hate equals, that might be correct, equals file dot try stat. Okay, and here we are not giving the size of the buffer. Okay, try file dot read to end alloc, to end alloc allocator, and this much read to the end. Okay, if we are saying like read to the end, why do we have to specify the size of how much we are reading? We are reading to the end anyways, but this allocator part does make sense because we are giving the allocator. So I guess maybe we are telling the function that we are going to give a allocator, and at the end allocator dot free, the allocator which was used to allocate memory, free buffer. Try read till end, read to end, and alloc, give the allocator comma the stats dot size. Maybe we like this might be a function. It is not a function. Size is not a function. Okay. Free shift does not work. But that might be correct to read a file. Yo, Zig is actually crazy. I converted my code to Zig to get an idea what crazy code you are about to write. I don't understand it shit at all. Yeah. Is bro solve shit. Uh Wait, he has MS at the share. I never noticed that he dev write MS. MS. Mrs. MS. Hmm. Okay. Zig is actually low level. And wait, how did you convert? Using ChatGPT? I guess Zig is actually crazy. And yes, now that you have said that I'm going to write, I will have to write the code. Hmm. Every line feels like it is wrong. Std dot debug dot print. And this is actually cool, a very humbling experience. Struggling to open a file is a very humbling experience. Okay. And what are we printing? We are printing and also the keyboard is missing it quite a bit. Okay. We are opening a file, a string called buff. Fails, fails. In the first line itself. Page allocator is not a function, huh? Who says that? Says who? Keep dot page allocator is okay. Documentation is outdated. How to open a file? The zig way to open a file. Let's see the zig way to open. This is Zigit official documentation. Zig dot guide file system. Create file to write to a file. Or wait, but we are getting error on the allocator part itself. Maybe we have to give in some argument to this thing. It is not a function. Okay. What is the next? Error type does not support array initialization syntax. Wait, this is online. Okay, they're saying something is wrong with this. Open file. And the next error is not there. File not found. That is cool. Oh, hello. Put this into text.txt and zig run main.zig and hello. We can read a file. What can we do at this point in Zig? We can create variables. We can write a function. We can create variables. We can create a fixed size array and optionally even a dynamic size array. After going through a lot of trouble, we can create a dynamic size array. And we faced problem because documentation is not updated. Official documentation is not updated. And we can open a file. We can read a file after like 10 steps. We can even read a file if you want to. Yeah, I thought maybe bro just converted his code to Zig. Mean.zig. Okay. This whole code is just to read a single file. I think we cannot say anything bad about Zig because we do not understand why these things are needed, right? We are not big developers. Who created Zig? Andrew Kelly. He might have a YouTube channel. Andrew Kelly. Okay, those are three different human beings. He has his website, and I'm like predict. Okay, I did see that website, but yeah, this is what I predicted. His website will not be full of things. Like he would not be showing off his HTML, React, CSS skills on his website. These projects are his actual gems, game gems. And same thing goes for a great developer named Fabrice Bellard. If you look at this guy, he might look like a average Joe, but if you go to his website, yeah, this is like a very normal website. Like literally, this is very normal. This is like bare bones, and I think this does not even have CSS. Okay, this has some CSS. Look at this. We have a line. We have two lines. So yes, that might be CSS. And this guy created the Tiny C compiler, Qmax, and FFmpeg is created by this guy, and QEMU is created by this guy, and this is his his main website. Tiny EMU, previously known as Risk EMU. So he also has something in Risk 5 era space. Yeah, he's something cool. And now on to back to Zig 2. Okay, Zig. I think we do have the building blocks. Now we can move on to solve the question. Okay. Day 09 ls part1 dot zig x.txt. Okay, what do we have? Um, shit. Okay, OBS is running. I accidentally stopped Brave. My bad. I closed Brave. And OBS is saying that the stream is still going. Hopefully it is. And the stream is still going. Cool. About chat. Let's go. Okay. Um, yeah, cool. I would recommend not going with Zig right now since it changes. Wait, shit, that is right. Wait, then how is Ghosty written in Zig? It is actually changing way too often. Fastest? Maybe. I think we can make that argument that Zig is fastest because this is like low level. This is lower level than C. Seems to be lower level than C. Is then C. No, is generally considered bit similar low level to C, aiming to be a modern C replacement, not significantly lower level or higher level, offering explicit memory control and direct hardware interaction, but better safety features and tooling. Maybe a Reddit user would say something. Wait, Zig has been there for a while, and still we do not have the, not even the like first version of Zig. Shit, they are fixed on a version. That makes sense. That makes sense. Zig higher level than C. Okay. It was made as alternative of C and much simpler than C, even though I don't agree right now. Yes, C is much simpler. C is much simpler. Zig higher level than C. Seems to like it seems like we have to do a lot of work for Zig and which version of Zig Ghost uses. Wait, how? Okay, 0.14. I thought it was like one version one. While older releases are compatible with this. It would actually teach us a lot to read Zig, to learn Zig very rigorously. When version 1 of Zig releases, stable version of Zig releases, it would actually teach us a lot. Not right now. Right now, we just want to solve a single advent of code question. That is enough. I saw a video where it shown that Zig is fast, maybe in some cases, because we can literally tell the allocator which you want to use from the to get memory from the heap. Shade ghosty will become ghosty, pun intended. Not very good at comedy. Okay, copy this, paste, and that is a very strange number to have 496 lines. Part1.zig, and now what do I write? Import cons sd equals import. Wait, what is the extension of a zig file? Dot zig. Okay, and we are not getting any LSV support because this is not initialized. We are getting LSV support. That is cool. And my phone is going to die. And the crazy thing is, I have my exam tomorrow in college. But tomorrow's exam is like DSA. I think I'll be able to do it. One of the things in Zig is the compiler really asserts your pointer to be properly aligned. Alignment in the sense of alignment in memory. Wait, pointers to be aligned. Wait, that is a bit too much of a restriction. Yes, 2 a.m. thoughts. That is a bit too much restriction. Pointers. So wait, by saying Zig wants our pointers to be aligned, do you mean that the cells that those pointers are pointing to? I think that is what you mean. Like, let's say if these are 1-bit cells, right? Yep. Bit number one, let's say one index, bit number 1, 2, bit number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And let's say we have aligned our memory for 4 bits, which is not true, I'm lying. Let's say it is 8 bits, which is 1 byte, which is also correct. Yep. Yeah. Let's say these are bytes, not bits, right? So this is byte number 1, byte number 2, byte number 3. These are bytes. And our memory is, let's say, aligned by 2 bytes. Then it is okay to have a pointer here at places which are 2 bytes aligned, and here pointing having a pointer at this cell location here and here. But it is not okay to have a pointer to this cell because this is like out of alignment from the memory. Is that what you meant? And if that is what you meant, then that is quite a bit of restriction. And I and if that is what you meant, then I think Zig is not for everyone. Zig is not for everyone. When you are writing a simple program, you do not want to know where the physical memory is that you are working with. Python is like much abstract, and you don't have to care about a lot of things in Python, which is cool. Okay, and on to the actual question. You slid down the fire pole, literally, yes. You slid down the fire pole in the corner of the playground and land in the North Pole Base movie theater. The movie theater has a wait. Okay, North Pole base. I thought you slid down the fire pole in the North Pole and you got to the South Pole and okay. The movie theater has a big tile floor with an interesting pattern. Elves here are redecorating the theater by switching out some of the square tiles in the big grid they form. Some of the tiles are red. The elves would like to find the largest rectangle that uses red tiles for two of its opposite corners. The elves would like to find the largest rectangle. The elves would like to find the largest rectangle that uses red tiles for two of its opposite corners. Okay, they even have a list of where the red tiles are located in the grid, like this. Okay, for example, this thing would suggest something like this. So I guess for opposite, this and this would be kind like starting. This would be the head, and this would be the bottom, where one corner we have this red tile and on one corner we have this red tile. Okay, showing this as red tiles and dot as for like other ones. Yep, yep. Just to this, you can choose any two red tiles as the opposite corners of your rectangles. Our goal is to find the largest. Okay, that is easy. For example, you can make a rectangle shown here, or you could make a rectangle shown here. You could even make a one line rectangle. Ultimately, the largest, okay, largest rectangle seems to be this. Okay, this one. Wait, not this. This starting from here and ending here, or vice versa. Using two red tiles opposite, what is the largest area of the rectangle you can make? N square time complexity, and just work with that. We just have 400 points, so we can literally just go N square. Yes, now the main difficulty, first of all, import, import. Wait, is that how we were importing? And public fn main, and we are getting LSP support, which is cool. And not void and this. Okay, and we need the allocator const. Let's say here const allocator is sd dot heap dot page allocator and const file equals std dot fs dot current working directory. Is it? It is current working directory. Current working directory dot open file. The name of the file is dot slash text dot txt. We need the stats, okay, file dot stat, which is not a function, it seems, right? And then we need to store the data const data type u8 equals try. We need try for all of them. Try file dot read to end alloc. Shit, this is also deprecated in favor of reader. We have reader, reader defaults to position reading, falls back to streaming, is more thread safe since global seek position is not affected. We will go with the one that we used before. File read to end alloc allocator. Use this allocator and stats dot size, right, and std dot debug dot print s new line comma dot share. I think this syntax is used for initializing a list, maybe. Error. Open file member function expected two arguments. Makes sense. Sig and stat seems to be a function. Let's go. Let's go. And look at this. Here we have two lines, and when we trim this string, we will lose that last character, if that makes sense. That last new line at the last. Trim format is you. Hey, that is cool. Trimmed both trim white spaces from both ends. Yes, trim both is mem trim. That's cool. We have a high level function. I did not expect this, but that is very good. That is very good. Mem, and this is a part of the standard library. That is cool. And trimmed. Okay. Pretty basic. Yes. Check every pair. Yes. And pretty basic. Wait for part 1 took 10 minutes and part 2 took more than 2. Wait, is your name Kilua? Maybe, I don't know. In Discord. Is that you, Kilua? Kilua I forgot the name of the anime, but there is Gon. Gon is the MC in that anime. Okay, we can trim. So let's make this a variable and say data equals std dot mem dot trim u8 data and trim what? Trim both from both the ends. Space tab new line return carriage. Space tab new line return carriage. And error. S- Who's returning constant? Expect expected type was this, but shit, data is constant somehow. Why is this constant? Why is this constant? It's shit. This is const. This is const. Let's use some other let's call this untrimmed. No. Yep. Shit. So pointer alignment is really important when writing performance critical code. It mainly depends on your data structure size, 1 byte, 2 byte, etc. Yeah, it is not fixed, and we can like specify in a lower language like assembly. But yeah, for performance critical code. Yep. And yep. So now I know your identity. If you have a non-aligned pointer, the CPU will end up performing two fetches to read that memory. Be because if your pointer is aligned, then you get like hardware acceleration or something. Hardware is working with you, right? That is the natural mode of hardware. Nope. You could have done a prank. In our architecture, non-aligned memory access will actually. Wait, no. R this is Mac, so this is ARM. Non-aligned memory access will actually result in a crash. Will result in a crash. Shit. That is crazy. Non-aligned memory access will result in a crash. So I guess the com at the compiler level, even if on the may okay, so this has to be handled at some point. The compiler puts padding, yes, for the sole reason. Wait, that is crazy. And see, they are replaced by a null pointer. Wait, what are replaced by null pointers? Null pointer, null pointer, pointer pointing to nothing. Hmm, that is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, this part is yes, compiler does add padding, but I thought compiler adds padding to like increase the speed of the execution of the program to fetch data faster, but not because if you do not add padding, then your program will literally crash. Hmm, that is crazy. That is crazy. Untrimmed data. Zig and okay, there we go. It does run. And look at this Earlier we had two new lines here. Now, since the data is trimmed, we do not have one extra line. So that is cool. Okay. And we make this a variable and say data 0 equals like 2. At least we are not getting error. Now we are getting error. Cannot assign to a constant. Who is saying that this thing is a constant? Why is this function returning a constant string? Yep, this is returning a constant type t. We can even remove. Okay, this is a powerful function. We can remove anything, whatever we give in this. But why do we get a constant thing? Can we change that behavior? I mean, it is a part of the function, like definition here, that this thing is going to return a constant. Like the array will be of type t, but t is constant. It removes a set of values from beginning to end of the slice. This is powerful. This is powerful. We can give anything, but we cannot do anything with what we get. Yep, that is a dilemma. Padding is added to make it so that the pointer to a given struct is divisible properly by a struct largest size element. Yep. Usually ends up being 8 bytes or 62. Yep. Const cast on that pointer. What pointer? Here I have only variables. Let me ask ChatGPT. In Zig, or I already had a ChatGPT session. Who knows everything? Const cast on that pointer. Here we do not have a pointer. Here we have a variable, which is a pointer. Yes, this might be stupid. Probably, yeah. Or my execution of this cannot assign to a constant. That why is this a constant? In Zig, when I use std.mem.trim, something terrible is wrong with the keyboard. Std.mem.trim, I get an a array of constants and I cannot change those elements in the array. How can I make it so that those elements are not constants? How do I do that? You are running into core Zig problem. If you pass constant to this, it will return constant. Okay, so I do not want this. Okay, this thing is returning me a constant. Trimmed. Oh, shit. After getting the constant, we can copy it somewhere else, which is mutable. The trim function itself, change it to R. It is it is variable. Okay, but they are saying that we can be sneaky, a little bit sneaky, right? Now, untrimmed is being updated. These inner values are still constants. This is a variable, this is a variable, and this is a variable. Maybe file is giving us immutable. Okay, this thing is not constant. This thing is not constant. This is a normal array of like this. 8. Yes, 1 byte normal array. Nothing wrong with that. But this thing is a constant. Okay. So yes, the problem is with trim. The problem is with trim. Constant the untrimmed array data when passing it. Okay. Shit. So you are saying that when I'm passing this to trim, this is being converted into a constant array. I think that is what you're saying. So hopefully this works, or maybe not. It was cast, right? Yep. Chat GPT might. Okay, this is bad. We do not want to do this. Can cast here is not working. If I'm doing this in the way that you are saying, here it is not working. Can I cast the buffer? The buffer that I have is variable, but when I am passing it trim it to trim, I am still getting a constant string. Yes. All right. Inside this returns a mutable slice even if you pass it even if you pass it a mutable slice. Your original is this. They return. The return will always be this. Okay, returned slice will always be a constant slice. How do I make the returned result mutable? Here after trimming. That no, no, that is bad. We have to copy our immutable string into another string which is mutable and then mutate our new mutable string. No, that is not good. Quick intuition, why does Zig do this? Zig wants you to always be painfully aware when you are modifying memory. A trimmed string can point to the middle of your buffer. Letting it be mutable could lead to confusion bugs. So Zig forces you. Yes, I understand. I want a mutable version. I must make a copy. That is the reason behind Zig. And it has been quite long. Okay. Hmm. Wait, huh? How to write our own mutable trim? Yes, we will have to copy. We will have to copy. We will have to copy. Yes. Yep, we will have to copy this. We will have to copy this. Immutable and data. Immutable and const new data. We need to allocate memory on the heap using this try allocator alloc, this like malloc function of type this much, and then free it at some point. Or allocator dot free and trimmed here also defer file dot close and or data it would be equal to try allocator dot alloc of type u8 how much we need data immutable dot length we need this much and defer data dot allocator dot free data at the end and std dot mem dot copy cpy copy what is the exact copy mem dot copy. Okay, shit. Documentation is not updated. Documentation is not updated. ChatGPT says that there is a function called copy, which is not here. From one buffer to another in Zig. How to copy a string from one buffer to another in Zig. From the Zig documentation, Zig language reference, mem copy. Wait, uh, copy. So whatever it is, we will have to use one of these functions, right? So let's see. If the slice overlaps, okay, copy forward. T supposedly, okay, T some type, destination and source. Copy forwards, copies all of the source into the destination at position 0. Destination dot length must be greater than equal to source. Yes, length is equal to source. And if the slices overlap, destination pointer must be smaller than. Okay, slices could actually overlap. That is a fair point. These two places where we want to like copy things, they might overlap, and that overlap is what inspires this difference in copy forwards and backwards thing. Okay, first is the destination, which is data, and the source is data immutable. Okay, and std dot debug dot print s a string dot comma. Here we will say print data error copy error expected 3 arguments the type. let's go let's go. We have a mutable string which we can change. Okay, and just as a proof, here the first character is 9. Now it is 1. Let's go. We have a mutable string with from our input. Okay, that is like the first step in solving the problem, the ability to read the input, right? And now you have to parse this. Okay, this is going to take a lot of time. Shit. Yep, we have to parse this thing, parse this data for which we want to split. Let's see. Split function. How to split a string in zig. Let's see. How do I split a string in zig? Split scalar. Okay, this is the string which we want to split. This text split at spaces. Std mem split scalar. Give me a iterator, which is something we can work with, which is something we can work with. Shit. But if we do work with this, we will get for each iterator we will get a string, a simple string. Each row will be given to us as a string. And you are right, Anshu Singh, you are right. We will, I think, probably have to go through this string character by character, and we'll get two numbers throughout the whole string. Yep, we will get two numbers throughout the whole string, and we will have to use a dynamic size array. We will have to use a dynamic size array because we do not know how many lines are there. We can actually know how many lines there are if no, we will just not use a dynamic size array. We will use an array which is very big. Let's say there are less than 1,000 points. That is something that we do know for a fact. So let's just use that. std.data.print. Yes, after here. Yeah, we have a variable. Let's say points. Let's make a structure actually. Cont point equals struct x type i32 and y i32. That's cool. And here a variable points of type array, 1,000 elements in the array, and elements are points. Undefined and int variable I equals 0. Type u size. Yep, type u size. Type u size. Now we will get a iterator where split scalar, split sequence, split iterator, split any, scalar. This is the function given to us by the internet. Split scalar. Let's use that one. Okay, split scalar. Where first thing is the type u8, and the second thing is the string which you want to split, which is data, and the third thing is at what point do we want to split. And how do we actually iterate while this thing give the value to chunk. Let's call this row. Unused capture. Yes, we are capturing a row. Hopefully this row is a thing, is yeah. Hopefully this row is one row. Let's comment these two and svd dot debug dot print instead of data print row and error with the split function. Yes, that is from a while ago. 15, 13, 5, 13. Expected U8 found constant pointer. Okay, makes sense. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, we are getting strings. That is cool. Now I num svd dot mem dot split scalar type U8, not data, but split the row on a comma, split the row on a comma, and returns iterators. Next method is used in a while loop iterator to iterate with chunks. Okay, okay. I am using svd dot std.mem dot split scalar. Okay, I will have to do something about the keyboard. Mem scalar will get an iterator in with how can I, and I know for a fact that there are two elements in this. How do I iterate through this manually? How do I iterate through this manually? Like, I know there are two elements in a single row. Wait, how do I actually use this iterator? Yeah. Nope, nope, it's not something that I want to do. Yes, yes, first and second, yes. First equals or x equals I num dot next, and const y equals I num dot next. Okay, so we have hopefully those numbers, these these numbers as strings. Hopefully we have them. Now, how to convert a string to a number? How to convert a string to a number? Nzig format parse into this thing, this base 10 string number string parse into I32 std format parse int. Okay, points I dot x equals std dot fmt dot parse int type I32 x base is 10. Do the same thing, but instead of x, say y on the whole line, and then I plus plus I plus equals 1. Okay, and now hopefully we do have the points filled up. PCNT, let's say, yeah, PCNT is cool. PCNT is more intuitive, pointer count. Now what we'll do is we will iterate for 0 to test if we have things in points or not. And this points is hopefully working, is hopefully filled, PCNT. Wait, can we iterate through points like this? P, we can, that is cool, let's go. And std dot debug dot print new line. Let's add these brackets also there. Yep, this is a D, this is a D, comma, curly brackets, P dot X, P dot Y. And now the final test in the first part, where we are just able to read the input. Zig and error, okay. Uh, Seems like we have to say try and no, expected. Okay, X is not a thing. Still not a thing. Numbers, consider omitting try. Expected constant, found a question mark there. Cannot convert optional to payload type. Consider using dot else, but dot question mark or else or if. Okay, let's use if. If we we yes if I num dot next in x, remove this, but put this here and do the same thing with y. In this whole line, substitute x with y on this whole line. Let's go. Let's go. We are not able to read the points. Okay, this minus makes sense. This minus infinity or whatever makes sense because we are going through the whole list and there are not 1,000 points. So the 1,000 point, the last second half of these 1,000 points are empty and we are just giving them minus infinity or some value. So if you were to do this 0 0 and p cnt plus 1, yes, we can do that. That is cool. Make this I and make this points bracket I dot x and this thing also. points bracket I dot y zig, and we do get, okay, we are getting one extra point somehow, which means this range is inclusive. Yep, the range is inclusive, but the main point is we are able to read. Okay, where maths, we're stopping, type I32 equals 0. Okay, for replace this with j, and okay, we have 2 points now. Yes, is going to be the difference in x, difference in x into difference in y. How do we find of a value in zig? Magnitude of a value in zig. Yep. Abs at the rate abs at the rate abs absolute difference in points I dot x minus points j dot x. Multiply does not work. Yes, multiply at the rate absolute value of points I dot y minus points j dot y. That's cool. And if area greater, if area is greater than max, then max equals area. Has to come inside this. Okay. Okay, let's go. I think part one is done. I think part one is done. Hopefully. Svg dot debug dot print answer digit new line comma max zig, and okay, max equals area times. uh, how are we changing type of the of a value? Or wait, what is the error? Error is this max. Wait, this won't even work. Dot max u32 does not matter. U32. Now you happy, and okay. uh, Integer overflow is crazy. Integer overflow is what we are facing. 64. Let's go. Let's go. Answer turns out to be this number. And hopefully change it to var. Wait, what? Okay, that is from blue. Are you defeated by the? Yes, but I guess we did D1. Wait, before submitting this thing, let me test if I'm getting the right answer on the test case before directly submitting. This whole thing to write a n square time algorithm to iterate over every possible pair of points. This whole thing is just to do that, which is crazy. Okay. Here we are trimming. Yep, we can comment all of this out and we can say const untrimmed data equals this test input. Zig is crazy. By the way, they are definitely easier way to do. Just need to spend more time. Yeah, and yep. I mean, yeah, it is very unfair to call a language like bad. I can say that Zig is difficult for entering, but everything seems easy if after spending some time with it. And now we are going to use Vim macro. Wait, how to write a multi-line string in Zig if there is a way to do that. Okay, shit, that is something. And we can do this starting from here. Record the macro in register number A. Okay, shit. QA. We are recording. Go to the start. These two. Exit. New line. Quit macro. Do this like I guess 5 times. 5. Let's go. And one more time. And my multi-line string equals this. Okay, the braces, these are in like in supposed to be in the opposite direction. My bad. Substitute these with this, or wait, with this globally. I think we are good. Okay, we are still getting error. It should that thing didn't change anything. What I'm trying to do here is use the vim substitute command to remove substitute put this globally. What is even happening? Okay, S, and now the pattern that I want to match for is this. Right, substitute that with this globally. Right, that does work. Exclamation mark is there, bro. Exclamation mark is there. New lines are included. Indentation is preserved. What are the exclamation marks? Expected. Ah, semicolon after a statement. It is here. Okay, that is cool. That is cool. Okay, are we getting the right answer for this? This says 36, and for the test case, the answer is 50. I think this and this. Answer is 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this must be 10. Answer is 50. Yes, I messed up, backslash. Yes. Match. Yeah, for this, for escaping the forward slash, match for the forward slash, and put in its place backslash globally. Bro knows Vim, so that is cool. Vim is cool. Vimigen. Okay, 36 is definitely not the correct answer. 36 is not the right answer. Let's also print these things that we are getting. Yeah, the points that we are getting. This is one point, and the second point is this, and here, and also. Okay, and here the first value is points I dot x, the second is points I dot y, then the third is points j dot x, and then points j dot y. Okay, and zig, and we run, and okay, new line, new line, new line. 7, 1, and 11, 7. 7, 1, and 11, 7. Shit, these two are also included. Okay. This plus this minus plus 1. My bad, my bad, my bad. I have to do plus 1 because the points themselves are also included. Wait, that is actually crazy. Now 50, expected answer. 50, let's go. 50 is the answer. Let's go. And we can comment this out and comment this. And the answer turns out to be this number. And this. Copy inside the word, and this is the answer. Yeah, I use Vim as a mean editor. Let's go. Have you tried Rust? Yes, a little bit, but the thing is, it needs time. It needs time. I have to spend time to get better. I cannot say I know Rust. Uh, let's go. Let's go. At least we did part one. That is cool. Leaderboard. I'm way back in the leaderboard. It needs time. Yep. Yo, bro, Aditya Singh, you are at the top. Rust needs time. Any language needs time. Okay. And yes, I've just tried it. Understand a little bit about memory, yeah, memory and stuff. Mutable references, immutable references. You can only have one mutable reference at a time, and you can have any amount of immutable references at a time. And I'm scared. You can have any amount of immutable references at a time, and when you have one mutable reference, you cannot have any immutable reference. Already have experience with the rest, it will be easy to learn Zig. Yeah, that is cool. I have a little experience, but no, I won't be learning Zig just now. Like you said, it is changing quite a bit. And why are there like complicated space shapes? Wait, this might be actually convex. The elves just remembered they can only switch out tiles that are red or green. So your rectangle can only include red or green tiles. In your list, every red tile is connected to the red tile before and after it by a straight line of green tiles. The list wraps, so the first red tile is also connected to the last red tiles that are adjacent in your list will always be on either the same row or the same column. Using the same example as before, the tiles are marked as X would be green. Wait, input has not changed. How do I know? Green tiles or green. So your rectangle can only include red or green tiles. In your list, every red tile is connected to the red tile before and after it by a straight line of green tiles. The list wraps, so the first red tile is connected to the last green tiles that are adjacent in your list will always be either on the same row or on the same column. This tile is in the same row and column with these two tiles, so it is connected to these tiles through green tiles. Okay, and this has the same row with this and this. Okay, and this and this. Okay. Okay, so there are quite a bit of green tiles. And wait, in your list, every red tile is connected to the red tile before and after it. The list wraps, so the first red tile is also connected to the last red tile, which does not make sense. This line does not make sense. Tiles that are adjacent in your list will always be either on the same row or on the same column. Using the same example as before, the green tiles are marked as X. In addition, all of the tiles inside this loop red and green are also green. Okay, that makes sense. That is cool. Okay, yes. These are the green tiles. The remaining tiles are never red or green. The rectangle you choose still must have red tiles in opposite corners, but any other tiles that it includes must now be red or green. This significantly limits option. For example, you can make a rectangle out of these two tiles. Yep. Okay. Using two red tiles opposite. What is the largest area of the rectangle you can make only using red and green tiles? Yes, that is something. Basically, because union and enums are heavily used. Yes, Rust enums are amazing. Rust enums and unions are amazing. Literally amazing. And the match statement in Rust is like mind blowing, actually. If Zig had traits, it would be absolutely beautiful. But traits go completely against their motto. Huh. Traits are as in like traits are my understanding of traits comes from C++ and it is partial, and it says that if you are making an object, then these are the properties that the object should have for it to be compatible with other functions which expect an object of this type or something like that. Abstract class, yes. I think, yeah, my understanding is kind of fine. Okay, this is difficult. It took me 1 hour to do part one. We can only choose red tiles, and here is the thing. Parser to learn a language. Write a parser to learn a language. That is advice that I've heard Primogen say. Primogen, yes. Write a parser. But parser feels like a lot of manual work, going character by character. Yeah, parser feels like a lot of manual work. I did a little bit of parsing for HTTP in C, and it was horrible. And I cannot do it right now. I forgot everything. Yeah, parser seems a lot of manual work. Okay, this. How can we do this? Okay, I will have to think about this. I have to think about this. This is like convex hull, and what I need to know are these 2 points. Is this like convex hull? This might not be like convex hull. Writing a parser is really involved process, so we basically end up touching 80% of the. Wait, I Yes, it is a involved process, but I think the involvement is not on the side of the language, but on the side of the thing that you are parsing. You know, for a parser, you would have a way, you would need to know how to read things in a file using that language which you are learning, right? Yep, going character by character or word by word. So, and you would need some way to represent the AST, the abstract syntax tree, that would require some understanding of the data structures which are provided by the language. 80%. Okay, okay, you are speaking 80% in context of a language that is not like C++, because yes, yeah, I guess you might end up using quite a bit of the language, because yeah, what else is there in a language which are not languages which are not C++? There are not a lot of things in languages which are not C++. There is a lot in C++. You won't end up using a lot of the standard library, but you will familiar common, yeah, yep. But my argument against this would be that, okay, maybe because I have not written a parser, so writing a parser is one thing that would be new, or maybe I should first write a parser in a language that I'm more comfortable with. Yes, definitely not C++. Yes, definitely not C++. Maybe I should write a parser in a language that I'm familiar with and get my understanding of a parser or how to write a parser better. And then when thinking of how a parser works is not a lot of overhead, I can write a parser in a language which I'm not familiar with. I think that is cool. And this, okay, red. I cannot choose every pair of red points that have been given to me. Nope. Nope. I cannot use every pair of red points. I cannot. And this would be much simpler if I had the like freedom to think in C++. Don't go overboard with the design and just put together simple for fun. Yeah, fun is important. Fun is important. Uh, my focus right now after EOC would not be to learn a new language, it would be just to make a project, like a actual working project. And I'm thinking of, not thinking, I will make a chess website. Yep, a fully functional chess website, front end, back end, where you can go start a new 5 minute match or any of the available matches. And yeah, it will be fun. Fun is important. And yes, I forgot how to use or write anything in Next.js. And Next.js documentation is amazing, is very beautiful. Look at this. This is very beautiful. These documentation is very beautiful. And I will be using the method of learning by writing thing. And here, okay, back to this. Advent of code part 2. Zig. Okay, maybe I'll just go ahead and touch grass for today because it has been 3 hours. And yeah, I'll just go, and maybe I will either do this offline off his stream, which might be a good thing. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll do this off his stream or at some other point, because yeah, right now I don't think I should. I can, or I should push myself, because this is fine. I'm happy with what I've done here. Zig. That is a lot of code. That is actually a lot of code. And yep, that would be it for today. And yes, I'm not doing part 2, so I'm very conscious of this fact. But I guess that is fine. That is fine. That is fine. Yep. And that would be it. That would be it for today's stream. We did Zig, part 1 of day 9, Advent of Code in Zig. And just part 1, we didn't do part 2. Part 1 in itself was a lot of challenge because of Zig. And that would be it for today. And thank you for being here. Bye.